What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents Podcast, a podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And today I'm talking about my top 5 artists/songs for 2020. There's a little bit of varying difference between the two lists. And this is all based off of my Spotify statistics, man. So I'm using that much like I did last year for my top songs of 2019 to kind of put this show together. I think it's really cool how Spotify kind of lets you know, some of your statistics and what you've been listening to all year. Plus, 2020 being the year that it was, music was very much needed. So, and before we get started with that, man, I just want to say thank you to everybody who listened to over 42 episodes, over 1,709 minutes of my podcast in 8 different countries. I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate anybody who stopped by just to listen to, whatever guest I had on, anybody who stopped by to listen to whatever topic I was talking about, means a lot to me, man. And I'm really hoping in 2021, I can kind of grow this little audience that I have here, man. And I greatly appreciate it. And, not for a second do I, take it for granted, because it means a lot to me, man. I didn't know, be honest with you, I didn't know how many people would actually listen to this when I finally put this together. But there's a lot of support there, a lot of good friends, man, just thank you to everybody. And with that being said, man, if you'd like to be a guest on my show or you have any show ideas, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Presents a Podcast, on Twitter at Podcast of Blue. And now you can follow me on Twitch at Hope_prevails_, man. I did my first stream last night playing a game called The Last of Us, which is a really, really fun game. I enjoy it. I play it at least once a year, so it's one of my favorite ones, so come check me out. But before we get started, man, listen to my boy AJ Pelletier tell you why you should be listening to the Roads We Travel podcast.
Hey everyone, AJ Pelletier here, and I'm here to talk to you about my podcast, The Roads We've Traveled. It's a podcast where every week I talk to guests and friends from music, art, comedy, and more about their journeys through life, their struggles, their joys, and everything in between. You also get to know a little bit more about me and my journey as well. So if you like podcasts about good conversations about life, or maybe you're just looking to relate to somebody about some things you may be going through as well, then The Roads We've Traveled is the podcast for you. Subscribe to us today on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out and subscribe to us on YouTube. And check us out at Facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled Podcast. All right, everyone. Thanks.
All right, guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, man. Today we're talking about my top 5 songs / top 5 artists of 2020, man. And this year has been crazy and unpredictable. The world as we know it has changed, and every aspect that we know of our life has changed, including music, man. The fact that we can not right now go see live music is, I'm sure, affecting a lot of us who are so used to going to shows. I know it's affecting me and my wife, as a lot of times, some of our date nights was going to a show to support some friends and stuff like that. So now that kind of option is kind of off the table, and we don't know how much longer that's going to be. But that being said, man, so many artists still kept giving us great music. So many bands that just, put everything on the line, even in a time of so much uncertainty. This was, an amazing year. So once again, like I said, this show's based off of my Spotify statistics. And the first thing I kind of want to tell you guys is that basically this year I listened to 347 new artists, 254 different genres, and 85 new ones that I've never heard before. On top of that, a total of 1,184 artists, with 29% of those artists being brand new artists. So I don't know what that says about me. Maybe it just says I'm like a big audiophile or whatever. That also goes for like podcasts and stuff like that. I actually listened to quite a bit of podcasts. It was a little more staggering than I was prepared to take in on that. But anyways, so first we're going to start with the artist, and then we're going to start with the songs, because this is the interesting part about Spotify is it actually gave me 2 different kind of lists where some of the artists don't even fall where you thought that they would fall when it became between the artist and the songs for 2020. So my first artist, number 5, is Meek Mill, which Meek Mill's always a favorite of mine. He just has a lyrical ability that I extremely enjoy. And his album Championships, which, came out a couple years ago, but still one of my favorite records. So this was an album all year for me that I felt like motivated me, amplified a lot of, some of my feeling for 2020. Number 4 is A Day to Remember. A Day to Remember is always my classic go-to when I want something with that singability as well as that crushing brutality that gives you something fun to listen to, as well as it gets harsh and heavy and stuff like that. So they're my kind of go-to when it comes to just wanting to tread that line of something singable as well as something screamable as well. So my number 3 was actually my number 1 for 2019, and it's Forget Tomorrow, man. Once again, another kind of go-between where they have that brutality meets that beauty, and even their later stuff, which is a little bit more R&B influence, is still a big favorite of mine, and I absolutely love what they do. Catchy hooks, brutal breakdowns, so much that I enjoy about what I listen to. And once again, this kind of goes back into, what my taste in music is sometimes. Sometimes it may not be something that I normally listen to, but if it's a catchy beat, man, it's catchy, man. You can't deny stuff like that, man. It's just, the flavor of life. So my number 2 band is a band that I'm pretty positive I churned this band like literally all year long, man. They just were my go-to. And it's Veil Maya, man. Veil Maya is just one of those bands to me right now that's really just doing music right. I haven't heard a song like in a while that I thought, okay, maybe they should have done something different, man. Everything from Members Only to Outsider to the last album, which was just absolutely fucking amazing. Echo Chamber is just on repeat in my house or in my car. But just one of those bands that gives me what I want. They have those heavy verses, those R&B like choruses and stuff like that. So super, just absolutely my go-to. My number 1, which is surprising, well, not surprising actually, because I did a whole show on this band, and it's The Ghost Inside, man. And there's so much I could say about this band and about the record that they put out this past year, but I'm going to save it because they are actually on my top 5 list. So we're just going to jump right to my top 5 songs of 2020. Sorry, I apologize, stumbling over my words. So that first list was my artist, basically what I was listening to, the artist that I was my go-to. These were actually the songs that I played the most, okay? And we're going to start at number 5, and it's the song Making Eyes by Archers. Once again, just a catchy song. It starts off very slow, very pop-like, and then picks up and just turns into from rock to metalcore and then back into like a poppy kind of sound. So it's just a great song, and it's a song about people who flirt with other people and, not understanding that you're just not that type of person. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It's a pretty fucking cool song. My number 5 is Outsider by Veil Maya. Once again, catchy choruses, brutal verses rather. So just a great fucking combination of so many things that I absolutely enjoy about, the metalcore scene, or I guess if you want to call them gent or whatever anybody's calling them. Personally, I think it's just great songwriting from these guys. They, like I said, they have yet to put out a song where I was just like, why does that sound like that? Why is that like that? And that's very hard to do in this day and age. But then again, I'm sure there could be arguments made about, oh, I don't like that they do this or they do that. That's whatever, man. That's your business, not my business. My number 3 song is Revived from a band called Us From Outside. And this, once again, just so catchy. Even the screaming choruses or vocals rather are extremely catchy. It beats you over the head. It's very heavy, but still has like that poppy chorus that just makes you want to over sing on top of that. This is one of those like singers songs because there's like just perfect chorus writing, man. I love what they do. Just it's something I like, and it's actually kind of off of an old album. I think this album came out in 2014 or something, but just a song that I had on repeat. Anyway, so my number 2 song is called Splash Warning, and it's Meek Mill featuring Future, Rowdy Rich, and Young Thug. Just something about this song, man, that the vibe for me just kind of always stuck with me, man. And I think it's because I really like Future's chorus in the song. And then, Meek Mill actually, like, it's so crazy because this is a Meek Mill song, but to be honest with you, it sounds more like a Future song, just with Meek Mill having a chorus in it. And it's some of my favorite rhyme schemes with Meek Mill. I was too unfamiliar with Rowdy Rich, not the hugest fan of Young Thug, but I don't know, all their verses, I think, to me, work. This is a great collaboration. And it's just catchy as shit, man. Like, it's so fucking just one of those songs, man, that, like, you could see yourself just nodding your head. And as I hear the beat in my head, I can just feel myself wanting to nod back and forth because it's just such a catchy beat. It feels good. It's just, it's not a song that's changing the world. Okay. Let's be honest, man. These guys are talking about money and things that I don't understand, but the music is what I connect with. And it's just, it's so great to me. And then also the other thing too is Future does this thing where he makes his ad lib a part of the song, and it almost has like its own, it's almost like it becomes a part of the beat, and you could, along with singing the song, you got the beat because you can hear him in the background doing the ad lib. And this is something else that a lot of people, I know some people may not be a huge fan of rap music or what they're doing now in rap music, but I think this speaks to certain artists in rap music, and we need to recognize them as artists because sometimes they do stuff like this where he's using his voice as an instrument to play over the beat, whether it's auto-tuned or not. It adds something to the song that I myself like can just hear it, and it's almost like it, to be honest with you, it sounds like a chirp noise that he's kind of making. And every time I hear the song, I do the part with him while he's doing it. And it's just, like I said, just a catchy fucking song. And then I think the cool thing is when Meek Mill's part does come on, he kind of like, and it's no disrespect to the other artists on this record, because like I said, I'm not a huge fan of some of them, and I didn't know one of them. But obviously I know Future and I know Meek Mill, but when Meek Mill's part comes on, it just shows you his lyrical content. It's just so great. And he's just one of those artists, that I end up enjoying. And shout out to my brother-in-law, because he was the one that kind of put me on to Meek Mill's Championship, and just kind of, it's been in my rotation for a while, but this year it just kind of was like something I listened to a lot. And Meek Mill does some great things. I mean, he has a song on his album where he has like a reggaeton artist, and it sounds really, really cool, even though I have no clue. I am unfortunately a Puerto Rican who doesn't speak Spanish or understand it. So shame on me, I guess. But it's still a catchy song. Meek Mill's a great artist, and I love everything that he does. All right. So my number one artist was my number one song as well, too. And the song is Aftermath, and the band is The Ghost Inside. And once again, I'm going to expound upon what this band did for me this year, man. And once again, we are living in probably a time that we're going to talk about for the rest of our lives. When you think back to 2020, and who knows how much longer this is going to last the way it's going to go, you're going to think about this, and it's either going to make you depressed as hell, or it's going to make you realize that you went through some shit, you overcame it, and we all came out hopefully a better person out of this, hopefully with a better understanding of it. I know, with this crazy turbulent time, sometimes it shows you the worst in us, but also at the same time, it shows you the best in us. And, not to be political or anything like that, we've been shown a few terrible things the beginning of this year and all of last year, and, hopefully we can understand that just because something's changed in the government, that doesn't mean that everyone else's life is changed if you're not willing to make a change in your life. And The Ghost Inside kind of like came out with that. And I feel like, this album, the self-titled album, was just what I needed for 2020. It came out in the summer, man. And it just kind of motivated me to stay on track, to continue to keep pushing forward, continue to realize that just because shit is shitty, there's still a purpose to life. There's still a goal to this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And I know, we all are experiencing different aspects of this. Some of us are becoming stronger in our relationships. Some of us are figuring out that our relationships aren't as strong as we thought they were. And that's kind of like the sadness of 2020 and some of the things that we've had to deal with. But I feel like this Ghost Inside record just kind of kept me sane, kind of kept me together, kind of made me realize that it's tough for every fucking body, man, and, to think about what these guys been through the last 5 years, after a terrible, terrible accident, and to just come out like they never left, giving everything they got through a record, man. And even though we weren't able to be together to, see live shows, you felt the passion of this record. And that's kind of what stuck to me. The passion of this record flowed through every part of it. The production was absolutely amazing. Every song I felt like had something to say, had something that meant something to me. And once again, I know everybody's taste is different. And I know some people, different records got them through this year. But once again, this is, my list, and I love the fact that I get to come on here and just tell you about things that I enjoy. Hopefully you can reach out to me and tell me some of the things that you enjoyed about 2020, which is really hard to say because there wasn't a lot to enjoy. But I feel like artists were still putting out music. Artists were still showing you, hey, we can't be together, but there's some ways we're going to try, everything from live streaming to, Zoom concerts or whatever whatever possibilities we had, man. And I've gotten to experience a couple of these artists do those things, man. And I thought they did absolutely amazing jobs in giving you energy when you can't go see them, and I think, for anybody, I think, a lot of people are suffering right now, you know what I'm saying? And I feel bad because I feel like, the music community is one of those communities that's unfortunately suffering. I know there's a whole hell of a lot of other communities that are suffering, but I do feel like the music community is kind of, also one of those groups that's kind of suffering, that we can't be together because you don't realize how much you actually miss going to shows and how many times you're like, oh man, I can't go to this show because XYZ. I want you to remember that when this is all over and somebody says, hey man, can you come out to my show? And I think you really need to sit down and think about it and just think about that time where you didn't have that opportunity. You didn't even have that enjoyment to say no. You know what I'm saying? And now for me, I feel like when we come out of this, I'm going to value shows a lot more because we've lost them. You know what I'm saying? Even some of the places that have started to come back and you see them in smaller capacities, not even the ability to be close to someone or be close to your friends when you go to shows, man, it means so much more now than it has ever meant in any time that I can think of it. I think back to when I was a teenager and, I often equate me finding, the hardcore and metalcore scene as like a light coming on in a dark room that's been dark for so fucking long, man, and so much pain and suffering that I was going through as an individual, to now where, I'm watching, people I love not have the opportunity to go do what they do best. And that's grace that stage. That's give everybody an opportunity to feel together. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the part that kind of like makes this kind of suck, man, is the togetherness of what music does for all of us, but still we were able to listen to music, live stream, all that other good stuff, man. And it just seems like even with the way things went, we were still able to find ways to do what we needed to do or enjoy music in the way that we enjoy it, man. And I just hope that, hopefully by the end of this year, beginning of next year, we can get back to fucking sweating on top of each other, moshing on top of each other, crowd surfing on top of each other, singing at the top of our lungs, man, and just enjoying that aspect of music that we all love, which is the in-person live experience. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, when this is all said and done, man, rethink about when you tell somebody, hey man, I can't make it to this show, man. Obviously, we've all got jobs, we've all got lives going on, but think about that when it's just like, man, remember when we didn't have the ability to even say no? You know what I'm saying? Just remember that. Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there, even though I was just talking about my my number one, which is the Ghost Inside and whatnot. But I just feel so passionate about this. I feel so passionate about music, man. And, even though, 2020 went the way it went, I actually got some really, really cool opportunities in 2020 when it comes to this show, man. And in the beginning of 2021, man, I'm getting some more opportunities, which, man, I really hope to bring you guys some more exciting content, some more dynamic guests from different aspects of the world, man. And once again, anybody who's interested or nervous or thinks that they don't have anything to talk about on a podcast, man, just give it a try. You know what I'm saying? Because it took someone telling me, go do it for me to figure out that this is what I needed to be doing. And I feel like I'm in the right place, man. And I just appreciate all of you guys for listening to today's show, man. And once again, man, check out some of these artists and, man, sit back, tell me what were some of the artists that Spotify told you were your artist of the year. Was it something that similar to mine, or was it something that I may have not seen? And maybe, hell, I need to check it out, man. So send me those songs, man. Once again, Facebook and Instagram, not Podcast of Blue, Blue Presents a Podcast. And then on Twitter at Podcast of Blue, man. Once again, thank you guys for listening to today's show. Appreciate you guys, man, and hopefully soon we'll be back to, going to shows and stuff like that, man. All right, man, you guys have a great week.